Welcome to Butcher Block Horror Podcast, where we exhume horror movies from the past and cut into what makes them so delectable. I'm Kane.
I am Zombi.
And I'm being bitten by a zombie. Oh, my liver! No, stop!
All right, you fucking idiots. Enough. Because today, we're covering Zombi. Also known as Zombie Flesh Eaters and Zombie 2. If you enjoy the taste of these feasts of fright, then make sure to review us on your favorite podcasting app. If you YouTube, definitely like the video, subscribe, and click the bell.
If you do the voodoo that we do.
So well.
Our website, WeGiveYouBrainworms.com, will allow you to join our Funky Fresh Discord server, as well as directly support the show using our Patreon link.
Yep.
All right, let's just get to it. Lucio Fulci's Zombie.
It's not a sequel.
I believe that Italy in 1979 would disagree with you.
See, I think they were just trying to cheaply jump on the coattails of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, that was the impression that I got, was they just shamelessly stuck the number 2 on it.
Yep.
So that people would think that it was a sequel to something.
They thought it was a sequel to Dawn of the Dead.
Right.
Because in Italy, it was just released as Zombie.
Sure.
I feel like from now on, I want to refer to Italy as Tiddly for all of the gratuitous breast shots that we get in Italian horror films.
I mean, American horror films also have gratuitous breast shots, JD.
That's true, but anyway. Zombie was released August 25th of 1979 in Italy, and in the USA, July 18th of 1980, with a runtime of 91 minutes and a budget. And the units of currency are in Italian lira here, so don't freak out. But the budget was a $410 million budget and a box office return, and I'm sure,
Well, it's not a
VHS
dollar budget. It's a 410 Italian lira budget.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, but you said dollar. That could be confusing.
I'm confused.
Italian lira. It was 410 million Italian lira, with a return of 3 billion Italian lira.
Yeah.
So I have a few fun facts.
Are they fun, though, JD? Are they going to be fun facts?
As a fan of punk music, I find that to be a pretty fun subject for me. And while shooting this film in New York, because there were multiple filming locations, New York City was one of them, the main zombie, the bald zombie, I believe that would have been Captain Haggerty, that zombie actually walked into CBGB's in full zombie makeup right during the height of the booming early days of punk rock, and basically went unnoticed.
Huh.
Yeah. Zombie was directed by the legendary Lucio Fulci.
Assistant directed by Tony Danza.
Right.
That's not true. You say this all the time, and that's just not true. Tony Danza has never
imagine
been
him
involved with a horror project.
But it's easy to imagine him in the co-pilot seat.
Real quick, the exchange rate for Italian lira would not exist because it was replaced with the euro January 1st, 1999. But
Right.
the 2022 conversion would be 410 million Italian lira, would be around $236,352.11.
Wowzers.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yes, you will.
So they made this film efficiently. Like I said, Lucio Fulci. And I don't know what else to really say about Fulci because we've been praising his genius for 5 seasons now.
Yeah.
He began directing in 1959, and I'd say we love him best for his Hell trilogy, House by the Cemetery, The Beyond, City of the Living Dead.
Yep.
Films of that nature. So I guess I will go on and talk about the producers.
Yeah, I'm actually worried, what the hell are we going to do for episode 12 next season?
We'll figure out something. And we may even have to shift gears away from Fulci for a bit just so we don't run out of good stuff.
There's not really a lot of good stuff left with Fulci.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe we should start a separate podcast that's just spaghetti westerns.
I would.
Shut up, Joe. I was
like
joking.
spaghetti
I know.
My
I know.
goodness.
Joe, it's not happening.
So our producers for Zombie are Ugo Tucci and Fabrizio De Angelis.
Travel the USA in your Yugo Tizzi.
Yeah. Really, for Tizzi, or Tutsi.
Or Tucci.
Tucci.
Yeah.
Let's call him Ugo Tucci. Really
I think
only
that might
one...
be accurate.
Are you done?
Maybe. Maybe
Okay.
I'm done. Maybe I'm not done.
I'm just going to go.
You can't.
All right, cool. So he only had one mystery thriller titled Spasimo in 1974. He had 33 producer credits total, but a mystery thriller was as close as we got to horror.
F that guy.
F him in the A.
Fabrizio, however, he did quite a bit with Lucio Fulci, such as The Beyond, House by the Cemetery, The New York Ripper, and then a film in the genre of horror but away from Fulci called Paganini Horror.
Which I desperately want to
of,
watch.
Watch it, nerd.
1989, directed by Luigi Cosi. And yeah, I think that would be a good one to maybe throw for episode 12 next season.
Yeah, it's about a largely female rock band that acquires a score by a composer. They decide to record it.
Could be cool.
Yeah, I think we need to watch that.
I'm all about some rock bands. So, let's see. On to the plot of Zombie. So we've got an abandoned boat
The
floating
plot
along
of Zombie.
the New York harbor.
I just did air quotes at my microphone.
Right.
I do want you guys to know that he has writing and directing credits for the producer for Karate Warrior and Killer Crocodile, and I need to
tracks.
see both of those movies.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're online to watch those.
I
Yeah.
think Killer Crocodile has come up on the show a time or two before.
It has. We need to watch it. Yeah, onto the plot. Yeah. So what's happening?
So we have a pair of harbor patrolmen. They board the vessel.
You always do this. You know, I set up my cast call outs, right? I set
Mhm.
those up based off of the way the film goes, right? So like
Yeah.
I add those in. We are introduced immediately to Dr. Menard, played by Richard Johnson.
Oh, Menards.
He shoots he shoots a corpse in the head, and it's a meaty, kind of gross headshot
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. There's that little flap of
of vittles.
turkey meat or whatever it was. Yeah, some vittles that are exposed through the gunshot. Pretty awesome looking. Nice amount of fake blood in there.
Then it shifts.
It shifts to the New York harbor, and the patrolmen eyeballing this vessel. They board the ship, and, one of them is almost instantly killed by a hidden zombie.
These are very sneaky zombies.
He's very
Yeah,
sneaky, very, very sneaky. But the surviving patrolman shoots the zombie, and it falls overboard, plunging into the harbor. And the dead patrolman is hauled off to the morgue. We then meet Annie Bowles,
Annie Bowles was played by Tisa Farrow, no relation.
and she is under a bit of police questioning because the boat belonged to her father,
And the cops are incompetent
and they are got her on the grill.
because
And-
they're incompetent.
So, yeah, but the fuzz is all about...
That bass?
What's that?
Are they all about that bass?
Yeah, they're all about that bass, no trouble. And thanks for throwing me way off.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is my gift to you. With love from Italy.
So she is explaining to the police that her dad's all about his research on Matul, a Caribbean island. We then meet Peter West, who's investigating what happened.
Who was played by Ian McCulloch.
Very nice pronunciation there.
I did what I could.
You got to do what you can. So he teams up with Annie, and the two discover that her father...
Annie, are you okay?
Well, it's her dad that we're the most concerned with. Her
I'm
father
not
is
concerned
suffering
with any of this, really.
from a mysterious illness over on the island.
I mean, there's no mystery to it.
So they rent a boat and a few guides. We meet Brian Hull
Who was played by Al Cliver.
and his girlfriend, Susan Barrett.
Who was played by Oretta Gay.
And they're all, attempting to reach Matul and investigate further.
I would like to say that they're not hired guides. That's the most fucked up part of their story. Like, they were on vacation, right? They even have a conversation where Brian's like, hey, you guys can't just use us forever. We're on vacation and we want to enjoy our time.
This is our time.
Yeah. They didn't even hire them. They just like, hey, can we ride with you? We want to go to this island.
Well, I
Mhm.
just assumed that they paid them.
No,
No, there was no exchange at all.
no, they were
No,
just,
no Italian lira?
no, they were just like, hey, can we
Yeah, no money exchanged hands on.
can we hang out with y'all? And they were like, this is weird, but yeah, you know what? We're here to take risks. We're here to have an adventure on our vacation. You know what? That bald spot you're rocking right now looks like you're an adventurous kind of guy.
Yeah.
So let's do this.
Help us reach Matul.
We were looking for a third for some activities we were going to get up to. And
And now you've got us to fourth. So, hey,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
do it.
Meanwhile, on the island of Matul, we have
take a walk on the wild side.
British
Nice.
Dr. David Menard.
Who I've already said was played by Richard Johnson.
He's a doctor and he also runs an appliance store.
It's not. He actually runs a church. He's a clergyman
It's
and
an
a doctor.
appliance church.
Appliance church.
I'm pretty sure he was cooking meth.
We also meet his wifey, Paola,
Played by Olga Carlotto.
and I think we all agreed that David didn't deserve his wife.
No, he treated her very poorly.
hmm
The couple, they do a bit of their own research there on the island.
I don't think the wife was involved with the research.
Well, I'm going to get to that.
She just showed up and was nude, I think.
No, she was angry. She was angry with Menard. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
I wasn't paying a ton of attention during this movie, so
He was not the most attentive husband. He was too focused on his work.
And a touch abusive.
Yeah, and wasn't really concerned with her feelings. And he did happen to have a bit of a heavy hand with her. So
right. So aside from the physical assault, not dissimilar from recording a podcast with Kane.
He was a penis, not Kane, David Menard.
Joe, do we need to have a conversation? Is there something that you need to get off your chest?
No, I'm just going to be passive aggressive. Keep doing what you're doing.
So David's really into
Okay.
the whole phenomenon of the zombie reanimation.
Do 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 do
Phenomena.
do 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 do.
But he doesn't
Phenomenon.
believe that it's voodoo or voodooism.
And Paola, she does not love the shit they are finding. She's all about getting the hell out of that island, off the island.
Out, off, that works.
Just any which way she wants to find
Let
that
loose?
way away. Exactly. David, however, is all about it and insists they stay to continue their work.
Well, let's continue his work, and he's a shitbag.
He is a shitbag. That very evening, Paola has an encounter with a vile zombie, trying to break into the property, literally breaking a hole through the door by reaching through with a single arm. He's a strong one. He grabs a hold of Paola and drags her through as splintering wood pierces her eyeball.
One of the best zombie kills in a movie.
Yeah, the eyeball was real good.
And this is one of the scenes that got this movie on the video nasty list in the UK, where this movie was basically banned.
So shortly after that kill, we have a pretty great scene with Susan,
Another one of the best scenes in a zombie movie ever.
who goes for a skinny deep dive,
As you do.
topless oxygen tanks, a breathing apparatus. She was a bit sunburnt.
I know anytime that I go diving and I have all that diving equipment attached to me, I feel really kind of held back
Right.
if I wear a diving suit. So instead, I just go in the nude.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Seems legit, yeah.
Yeah, I get my balls separated by the strap that you use to attach the air tank. You know, it's a way of living, you know.
Right. Just oxygen tank straps chafing your bare skin.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would feel concerned for your well-being.
If I don't feel intense discomfort whenever I go diving, I don't feel like I've really done anything.
That sounds pretty representative of how you live your life, if I'm being honest.
Anyway,
Sorry,
we're not
JD.
going to talk about me separating my balls with the strap of a oxygen tank.
And the real thin G string that you wear also kind of separates.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, that was real dumb.
So-
Very stupid.
Susan's down there, and she's getting scared shitless by a
Well,
shark.
First off, she's taking some beautiful photos of fishes.
And the cameraman is taking some beautiful photos of her nude body for the pleasure of the audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right up to her butthole.
Yeah, yeah.
And in a fairly exploity type of
Completely unnecessary.
roll of film there. Yeah. But anyway, so there's the shark, but things get worse, if you could even imagine it being possible.
Or better.
Well, from our perspective, things got way better. On the other side of the reef, she is greeted by a waterlogged zombie.
Who was actually played by Ramon Bravo, who was the trainer of the shark. And it's fun to note that as far as I was able to find out, Lucio Fulci was not involved with the underwater shark scene.
They snuck that one in there.
Yeah, it was devised by Hugo Tucci, and it was shot without Fulci's approval.
It was the best thing in the movie.
It's really fucking good.
Well, now, in my opinion, Hugo Tucci will go down in infamy as the contributor to the one and only zombie versus shark scene.
Yep.
It was pretty great.
Fantastic. And arguably one of the better scenes of the film, just for fun's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So she somehow, Susan that is, somehow makes it back to the boat. She is fully traumatized, yet still able to utter some vague description of what happened.
But there was a man under the water, and no
Right.
one believes her.
So then we have our zombie versus sharks battle, and that was some epic shit. Susan makes it back to Matul somehow, and David is shocked to discover his friend and colleague Fritz has bought the big ticket by way of zombie infection.
That'll happen.
It will happen. David requests that all the remaining colleagues shoot the dead bodies right in their heads. As David digs a grave, he hears a signal flare and follows up to discover the group in their boat. David sends them all back to his mansion, where they come across the grisly remains of his zombie-eaten wife. Well, let me clarify. The zombies are still eating his wife.
Real squishy. They're just getting in there.
Yeah, currently feasting away in this nightmarish hell scene of a feast. And it was pretty gruesome. I kind of loved it. So the group narrowly fends off a full-on zombie attack and cruise off in a Jeep. They end up slamming into a zombie, however, and veering off-road. Peter is suffering an intense ankle injury.
Which I'm trying to figure out how that happened. Because it looks like a giant chunk of tissue is taken out of his ankle.
Could have been a bite.
From where?
Who knows?
Yeah, it looked like the hand grabbed his leg. Like you see that, and then the camera goes and does some other stuff for a minute. And then you come back and there's just a chunk out of his leg.
No, that chunk happened in the car accident. Like that's when he
Right.
starts hobbling around.
Oh, right.
So he's already got that bleeding wound when the hand grabs him. It just makes it
Sure.
worse. Or does it make it better? I'm sorry.
So they break for a time in a jungle clearing, only to find that the group now sits in a conquistador-era graveyard. Susan gets murdered as a zombie conquistador bites out her throat.
Which apparently the soil of this island is amazing at preserving dead tissue.
Absolutely.
It's all the salt.
And that throat bite was one of my favorite ones.
It was pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Really gooey. I mean, the prosthetics involved with that scene were pretty fantastic. So then a whole shitstorm of conquistador zombies begin to reanimate. The remaining group members take off to the local hospital. And boy, was that a mistake.
I mean, everything about the trip to this island was a mistake.
Yeah, it all kind of goes from bad to worse. David explains that the dead are returning due to a voodoo curse, which he has been trying like hell to stop. The hospital is entirely overrun by zombie hordes. David is killed by a reanimated zombie Fritz.
Yep. Gives him some kisses on the cheek. That weren't really kisses. Actually, a giant bite
Yeah.
Right.
tearing chunks out.
Zombie kisses.
It's zombie kisses. Nice. I
Know
like it.
that
Zombie
from
kisses.
now on as bites.
Also, Zombie Kisses is the band that we're starting.
Nice.
And I agree with that. I agree. I want to play the bass.
It's the zombie cuddle party. All right. That's what we're doing here.
Let's do it. So, zombies are entering the hospital. People being treated, they're also turning into zombies.
I think I'm turning into zombies. I think I'm turning into zombies. Really think so.
Yeah, they could have cured that pretty quickly. With
Some headshots. Yeah.
every person that's been bitten gets shot in the face. That's just, those are the rules.
Where is that type of logic in any horror movie?
Good point.
It's very rare. Maybe Ash, he kind of knows better.
Yes, Ash definitely knows better.
Get the axe.
Yep.
Anyway, the zombies are reanimating. They're taking out hospital staff, killing all the dedicated medical workers. They're all turning into zombies. The dead outside have now breached the main door. Annie and Brian attempt to set the entire building on fire with Molotov cocktails. It's not that successful.
No.
He does his best.
Zombie Susan ends up biting Brian on the way out.
Yep.
and is shot dead again by Peter.
This is the first time she was shot dead.
Well, I meant to say she died again.
Right.
She's double dead.
Double dead.
Family double dead.
Nice.
So then Annie, Peter, and Brian,
Annie, are you okay?
They escape to the boat and get the fuck away from the island. And they now are at the mercy of the sea. Brian suffers and dies from his infection. And I'm assuming that he was down in the cabin sort of locked away because I'm assuming they'd figured, how are we going to explain this, you know?
Which is actually a smart-ass thing to do at the end of a horror movie.
It is,
Right.
yeah.
It's dangerous, right? Like, it's definitely dangerous. But if you've got a way to secure the monster
Right.
and keep it alive so that when you get to the local authorities and you're like, hey, this monster attack happened, the authorities
you're
are
not
like,
blamed.
bullshit.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have anything to explain. You could just show them the evidence, the live evidence, the dead alive evidence.
Nice.
So the boat approaches New York again, and a radio broadcast can be heard reporting that the entire city is under attack from zombies as a result of the initial attack at the beginning of the film.
Right.
And that's pretty much how the film ends.
You know, I think that I really want to see that movie. I've said it before, right? But I want to say it again. I desperately want to watch the movie that is the aftermath of whatever horrifying thing has happened. The bad guy doesn't come back, right? It's just
Mhm.
the survivor trying to explain what happened.
All these corpses.
Yeah, I want to see that movie. I might be the only person in the world that's never been made to my knowledge. You know, like slasher movies, they come to a conclusion. But like Nightmare on Elm Street, nobody's going to believe you.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy in dreams murdering people. Like, no, there's not. You're
That's-
crazy.
yeah.
You did it.
Even if you could pull Freddy's glove off, that's not going to prove anything. The
No.
police are
No.
just going to look at that glove and go, okay, well, now we got our murder weapon.
Mhm.
Exactly.
That's
You know, and then
evidence.
you look at like Child's Play, right? The end of that movie sums up what happens in a supernatural film. The one cop's like, you know, now you know, like it's real. Like the guy's like, who's gonna believe me? Like, you saw it. Yeah, I did, but who the fuck's gonna believe me? You know, they're gonna
Yeah.
think I'm just as crazy as you are. No. So that's why I think keeping at least a monster alive and secured so that you can kind of plan for when you end up interacting with the local constabulary.
Right. Because really, your best bet is to convince a police officer because they can very easily just make it all disappear.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
And then you won't have to prove anything to anybody because it all just kind of goes away.
Right. or if you want people to be aware of it, to raise awareness, you bring it to like a local reporter.
Sure.
Go, hey, do you want a Pulitzer? And they're like, yeah, sure, buddy, whatever. You can't get me a Pulitzer. And then you're like, oh yes, I can. Anyway, the score, Fabio Frizzi, we talked about it. Some of the choices were a little weird, but overall, I love his music. His scores are really good.
Yeah, he freeted us.
Yeah, he Frizzi'd the shit out of this.
Was that it? Was that the whole plot?
Yeah, that's it. Dude, there's not much to talk about.
I
Again,
guess you're right. Yeah.
again, anyone that has never seen a Fulci film and you stumbled upon this podcast and you're like, what the fuck are these dumb bastards doing? Right?
Mhm.
You don't watch Fulci movies for the story.
Yeah. Yeah. You watch them for weird synthesizer music.
No. I mean, that's just like icing on the cake. The cake being
That's
made
why
out
I
of
watch them.
Well,
bug-infested corpses. All
You
right?
do. You
That's-
watch them for live insects. You watch them for maggots and other little critters, but mostly for the gore.
Yeah, that's what you watch them for, because some of those bites were fucking gnarly.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
some of
yeah.
those kills were just amazing to watch. It's the same thing, City of the Living Dead. Who knows what the hell's actually going on, right? It's got a skeleton of a plot.
And who really even cares what's happening? Because you're seeing all of that awesome shit.
Exactly. Speaking of the story, Joe,
What?
why don't you tell us who the writer was?
Yeah, I can do that. Written by frequent, pretty much constant Fulci collaborators, Elisa Brigante and Dardano Sacchetti. The married writing team behind such classics as House by the Cemetery, The Blade in the Dark, Manhattan Baby, and The Rat Man. I'm the Rat Man!
Da-dup-dup-dup-dup.
Beep, bop, 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 bop. They have credits in the Italian film world going back to from the 70s to the like early 2000s.
Right.
The most well-known being their collaborations with Fulci.
Right.
Because I don't know if they're actually very good story writers. I think they just latched themselves onto Lucio Fulci, who didn't really need them to be.
And I think they like to get high, too.
Oh, sure.
That's the thing is any music or art that you've come to appreciate, if you get butthurt about people using drugs,
Yeah, then you're going to have a problem.
yeah, you shouldn't look into the past or history of the individuals making that art that you appreciate, because
True.
chances are they may have been under the influence of different substances at different times. I mean, in the 70s and 80s, probably a lot of cocaine.
It'd probably be harder to narrow it down to the drugs that weren't in play.
I mean, in the 70s and 80s, probably not a lot of laudanum, Probably not a lot of laudanum.
Yep. You want to know about the cinematography?
Yeah. Tell us about the cinematographer.
All day, every day.
Well, no, just for this section. I don't
Right.
talk about it all day.
No, I can't not say cinematography, so we'll go with that. By Sergio Salvati, another Fulci collaborator. We've given him extensive bios on our previous Fulci episodes, so I'm not going to do it again.
Right.
But in brief, he got his start from his father, Adolfo, who already worked in the Italian film industry. Over the course of his life, he worked with some of the big dogs of Italian filmmaking. He worked with Sergio Leone. He worked with Fulci.
Right.
But he also worked on a lot of garbage.
Well, yeah.
Shit like Puppet Master, Ghoulies 2. Every time I look him up on IMDb, I see that he worked on a film called Flying Sex,
Whoa.
which may or may not be a porno.
So it's flying sex. Do you think it's like genitalia?
It's about fucking on an airplane.
Oh.
I can't tell because that information's kind of spotty and I lose interest pretty fast.
I had imagined trapeze artists.
I want to watch that movie. I want to watch a porno based on trapeze
Trapeze
artists.
porno sounds like Cirque du Soleil, but they fuck. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it
in.
sounds dangerous. It sounds
Yeah,
dangerous.
that's
It
risky.
sounds exciting. You're like, oh, there's no net. There's no net. Oh, Andy's not wearing a condom. Oh my God.
And you have several seconds between thrusts.
Mhm.
which is like edging. Oh, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the big finale is they get two of them on the same trapeze and they're just swinging and just going to town.
That's one way to turn down the E. PE.
All right. Porn producers, you've been tasked.
Yeah. Or just if you're a trapeze artist and you want to just blow the world of porn wide open.
If you're trying to push P, man, that's the way you do it right there.
If you're up there like doing the silks at the Renaissance Fair or the county fair and you want to just completely take your career in a different direction.
You're welcome.
What is this? What are we doing?
We're giving advice based off of our experience.
All right. Well,
I'm done talking about cinematography. That's all you get.
All right.
We're like sexual consultants right now. We're
Okay.
giving advice.
I would like to distance ourselves from that statement completely.
Yeah.
Don't listen to these idiots.
We are
Not
very
the
stupid.
folks to pay attention to. Anyway, JD, why don't we talk about special effects? We know that this is a long time Fulci collaborator. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a few artists to discuss. We have Giovanni Corridori. Our main player here is Gianetto Diarossi. Then we have Gino Diarossi and Roberto Pace. Really, I think I'm just going to narrow it down just a bit to Gianetto Diarossi, mostly just known for his particularly highly detailed and realistic prosthetics. Diarossi was a big user of, different types of latex and things like that. One of the things that I noticed in this film, as far as the special effects go, is that for the live actors, they had two different qualities of mask per zombie. And I don't know if you picked up on that during the film, but
Mhm.
Yeah. I think this is another movie that being transferred from, the media of 70s film into, your high def Blu-ray maybe did it an unkindness.
It did several unkindnesses to it.
Well,
honestly.
that is true, but also
Unkindnesses?
Yeah, it's another layer of unkindnesses.
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 Unkindness.
Let's just keep repeating that word for the duration of the
No,
podcast.
let's not. The amount of shit Joe's going to have to scoop out of this fucking podcast episode to get an
I
episode.
might just leave it in and let you all sound stupid.
You're part of this. That means you get to sound stupid too. So that's on you, buddy. You wear whatever hat you want to wear.
I don't like to wear hats.
So back to Giannetto De Rossi. I'm assuming that these actors had a lot of different masks that they would have on there. So for just an example, like the key zombie, the one that you would see on the cover of the DVD, that zombie had there were two versions, and there could have even been a double involved, because when the camera sort of zoomed in to show the gore and give you Lucio Fulci's like insect maggot infestations and things like that, De Rossi was able to sort of show you Fulci's vision up close and detailed in a really disgusting way. And then from a further away shot, the mask would almost become like thin, almost like a nylon or something. Because I noticed that it happened with that zombie. It also happened with the underwater, the shark zombie.
Mm.
That zombie had a few different looks. So, and I don't know if that was like a budget thing or if just the quality of the latex they were using at that time.
But I mean, it could also be that they were under the ocean's water. Like the salt water probably did not do good things to the makeup.
Yeah, you could kind of see the makeup peeling off in that underwater scene a couple times.
Which kind of works, because if it's flesh rotting away, it probably would be.
But it just looked like a human face underneath. It wasn't like,
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
It didn't look like bloat or the cell destruction that happens when either too much salt or too much water is pushed into it.
right. What you won't know, because this is a podcast, is that JD's face is actually a detailed horror movie prosthetic.
It's true.
Thank you.
What's funny is that the makeup in this movie that was caked on so heavily that Fulci was noted to refer to the extras in the zombie makeup as walking flower pots.
Nice.
That's fitting. De Rossi is a BAFTA award winner for Best Special Effects.
Nice.
Yeah, he was received that award in 1987. And yeah, spent most of his career working alongside Lucio Fulci.
De Rossi is really the force behind everything that we see.
Yeah.
There were other people attached to him that were essentially like assistants, but this was his vision special effects wise. And Fulci would be like, I want this to look like this. And he would just go do it. And sometimes Fulci would give him shit about it by calling the zombies walking flower pots.
It's true.
That's what Fulci did. Yeah, so if you're done with the special effects,
Yeah.
let's move on. Joe,
Huh?
let's
What?
talk about our personal experiences with the movie. You go first.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this movie till today. Anytime there wasn't gore or nudity,
It's pretty boring.
I had a hard time really engaging. It was just people talking at each other, badly dubbed in.
Well, half of it badly dubbed.
Yeah, it was that weird thing that you get in movies from this era where there were some native English speakers and some overdubbed Italian speakers. Which I don't know why you would make a movie like that, but
I love it. It's one of my favorite things about Lucio Fulci films because it happens all the time. Like you'll find native English speaking people in the film. All of their voice lines match up perfectly with what their mouths are doing.
right.
And then you'll have these folks that you know are speaking a different language. And Fulci's just like, we're not going to record the audio. We're going to dub you afterwards, but I do
Right.
need you to move your mouth.
Why not just, do what Schwarzenegger did in his early films and just teach them to say the lines phonetically, even though they don't know what those words mean. Just say the words.
That takes a lot of time, Joe. Do you think that Fulci had a lot of time to work with?
Yeah, he had very little money and just wanted to make zombies' heads explode.
Which was beautiful.
Yeah. The gore was immaculate, especially because just doing this zombie season, we've kind of watched the evolution of practical zombie effects.
Yep.
And even though this one was kind of early days, it still looked really good.
Aside from the times where you could see the latex lines on the skin.
Yeah. or the makeup kind of flaking off and revealing human skin underneath.
Yeah, it was really fucking fun.
This is the only time I've ever seen a zombie fight a shark.
How did that make you feel when that was happening, Joe?
I thought it was great. It was very cool. But don't watch this movie for the story, because there isn't one.
That's not what we're here for.
No.
And then if you were to rate these zombies, how would you rate it?
Probably a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Because they looked good, except when they didn't. And because it was harder to engage with the plot, because there wasn't one. There weren't really stakes.
No.
Because, I don't like these characters. I don't care whether they live or die.
In fact, I'm hoping.
I kind of want them to die because it's going to look cool if they get killed. So that made it hard to really be afraid of anything that was happening.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, I'd say solid 3 out of 5 zombies.
Nice. I approve of that. JD, why don't you tell us your personal experience?
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely not my first rodeo with Zombie. I have a copy of the DVD. I'm a fan. But just in general, I'm a fan of Lucille Fulci. And yeah, this is one of those films where it's if you have a horror collection, you need to own it because of the zombie versus shark scene. It's kind of an essential, just under the umbrella of zombie films in general. And as far as watching it today goes, I can't really say it transformed my how I experienced it the first time. I guess the story kind of goes along pretty clear for a Fulci film, but it's definitely also sort of slow and sleepy.
Me too.
In its storytelling. But, the prosthetic effects are pretty cool. And the gore is exceptional at times, but it kind of wavers in that. And some of what I was talking about during the special effects segment definitely influences my opinion of that quite a bit. I would say that if they had maintained the level of budget thrown at that portion of the film, then maybe I would be jumping up and down over the special effects a little bit more. But it's they went from excellent to terrible, back to excellent, and then back to terrible, in the blink of an eye, basically. So
right.
If I were to rate these zombies, I'm going to go ahead and it's unfortunate because, minus the moments of bad zombie makeup, the good zombie makeup, I would have given this a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, the bites were amazing.
Yeah. The bites were probably the best part.
Yep.
And so were, just scenes of tearing away, whether it was from teeth or the grasp of hands, because a lot of flesh just got pulled right off the bone in this film, and it was a lot of fun to see. As far as the contents of the innards, I'm assuming those were some type of raw animal parts.
Of course.
But yeah, I don't know. I was always a fan of the iconic zombie of this film, the one that you would see on the DVD cover, that kind of long in the tooth and all crazy and gnarled looking.
So if you were forced to pick a number, what would you pick?
I'm going with a 3 also.
Okay.
So Kane, go ahead and share your personal experience with the film.
I love this movie. I've watched it many, many times throughout the decades. The story, again, I'm not here for that. I'm here for all of the gore. And I think that's pretty much what this movie's for. Is you're going to see some exceptional gore, some exceptional zombie makeup, kind of mixed in with some terrible, obvious zombie mistakes. There's a few times where the zombies are kind of stumbling around and you see the neckline where the zombie skin turns into people's skin. Like that kind of stuff could kind of pull me out of a movie. But overall, it's a classic. It's a beautifully done zombie movie. That basically, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was that the story, or if you want to call it a story, for this movie was actually written before Dawn of the Dead was released in Italy. But then the opening and closing scenes, which are taking place in New York, those were specifically added to the script because Dawn of the Dead was so popular. And they wanted to cash in on that success.
Nice.
But yeah, overall, love this movie. I've watched it many, many times. I will watch it many, many times in the future.
Oh, yeah.
As far as zombie ratings are concerned, it would have gotten a 4, but the times where the makeup malfunctioned in a way that brought me out of the zombie scene, kind of killed that for me, so we're going to go with a 3 as well.
Right.
But overall, this is a great movie, and I advise anyone that appreciates zombie films to definitely get a hold of this one.
And for you animal lovers out there, that includes me, the tiger shark was not harmed.
Yeah.
It was fed very well, in fact.
Yeah, it was fed very well, and I think they sedated it so that it didn't actually kill.
I want to be sedated.
If you watched Lucio Fulci's Zombie, let us know what you think. You can find us at WeGiveYouBrainworms.com.
Kane, don't worry. I'm going to take care of him with the pain stick for that one.
Thanks. If you listen to us on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe.
And click the bell. Don't forget the bell.
Smash that bell.
Yeah.
Smash it.
And next week, we are covering the Dario Argento version of Zombie, Dawn of the Dead, which is just the Argento version of Dawn of the Dead.
I'll be drunk.
JD, sign us off before Joe throws up on himself again.
Au revoir.
Bye, everybody.
He was a penis, not Kane. Get the X. We're like sexual consultants right now. We're giving advice.